News 4 Jax starts right now with a breaking news alert.
That local breaking news alert comes from the Windy Hill neighborhood on the south side. Right now, SWAT has surrounded a home. Police believe a shooting suspect barricaded inside, all unfolding at the Countryside Village Mobile Home Park. Jacksonville Sheriff's Office standing by right now. Melissa Bojeda to tell us exactly what's going on. Let's listen in.
So what can you tell us about what's going on right now?
At 9:22 a.m. this morning, we received a call from a family member who was not inside the residence, who called and stated that one person was shot inside the residence and the suspect was also at the scene. When police arrived, the person who was shot was transported, had gotten out of the residence, transported to the hospital with minor injuries. However, it is a gunshot wound. That person has already been released from the hospital. At this time, we're trying to determine if the suspect is inside the residence. There was a time lapse before police responding, the victim getting out of the residence. There's a time lapse there. We have not been able to make contact with anyone inside the house, but due to safety precautions and us not knowing if he's in there or not, we are taking every measure possible to make sure it is a safe outcome for everybody, including the police.
Can you talk about the relationship between the suspect and the victim?
I don't know the specific relationship, but they are family members. Anything more than that, but they are related.
I know. In an effort to keep people safe, we see a lot of people evacuated and not allowed to come inside their houses.
Yes, we have evacuated the perimeter. Obviously, with someone being shot, the person has weapons, the police have weapons, and we need to make sure that it's safe for everybody. And everybody has been very patient. We just ask for everybody's patience for everything with this.
And can you talk about, we see the mobile command unit, a lot of police presence here. What is the plan going forward?
It's a full SWAT call out at this point. Even though we're not sure if he's inside, we're treating it as if the person is inside. So we're asking anybody who may have any information, if they lived in that area and may have saw him leave or know that he is inside, if he's made contact with anyone. They know the people that are involved, and we just ask them to contact police.
Is there any information you can tell us at this point about the suspect?
At this time, no, we're not releasing those specific details, but as soon as we can confirm the information, we're going to release it out.
Any idea how much longer it might be out here, Melissa?
SWAT call-outs are, you never know what it's going to be. It could be very short, it could be very long. This is all upon the individuals involved and how they're going to work with police.
Can you rehash from the beginning, since we just got here?
Absolutely.
What the information was?
So getting that information right now, an update from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office about the situation going on behind us at this mobile home park, Countryside Village. Basically, a person shot inside a home. They got a call from a family member who said that there had been a shooting inside of a mobile home here by a relative. And you can see there has been a very big police response in that meantime. But we can report the person who was involved has very minor injuries. They've already been released from the hospital, but right now the situation is they don't know if that suspect is still inside this house here. So that's why you see this heavy police presence. The SWAT team is here. They just want to make sure that everyone is safe. So we will be out here until these people who've been evacuated are allowed to go back into their house. And of course, make sure you watch for updates. Of course, we'll bring you that very latest information on news4jax.com. Back to you guys.
All right, Kumasi, thank you. An enormous gathering at the funeral for two of the three victims in last week's triple murder in Green Cove Springs. Valerie Short and her father, Buddy Short, being laid to rest right now. Channel 4's Scott Johnson joins us live from outside the funeral services on State Road 16. Scott.
Bruce, hundreds of people have shown up out here along State Road 16. The crowd is just enormous for the funeral of Valerie and her father, Buddy Short. Some vehicles have had to park around a mile away because there are so many people here, and hundreds just had to line up outside First Black Creek Baptist Church here on State Road 16 for the viewing just to get inside. The viewing started at 10, the funeral at 11. In talking to a lot of people here, they say Green Cove is a close-knit community, and all the families involved are well known, the ones of the three victims and even the suspect's family, Murray Lancaster, all well-known families in the community. Everyone's just grieving.
Green Cove's a good old boy town, so when something like this happens, it happens to everybody.
Has it just been hard knowing how it happened and everything?
It's really sad how it happened. Nobody wants to hear that their friend was shot down. The Murray family, the Lancaster family, I'm sure, is upset too. It's just a very sad thing. It's a sad thing for this town.
This is the first of two funerals for the victims. Erica Green's funeral will be held tomorrow at 11 at First Baptist Church of Middleburg. Two teenage girls are recovering after being run over by a city vehicle on Atlantic Beach Saturday. Emergency crews say the girls were taken to the hospital. Their names have yet to be released. We talked with a local attorney who says he's represented victims in these types of cases and calls these accidents common. He says there have been more than a dozen cases like this in Florida, and many times the injuries are severe.
When the first one happened, we asked for every single county and municipality's policies and procedures to try to enforce everybody to get on the same page. And, 2 years later now, these things are still happening.
Channel 4's Jim Piggott is digging deeper into this story and what's being done to prevent this from happening again. Look for more on this story on the evening news starting at 5. Continuing our coverage of a deadly road rage shooting that happened on I-10 eastbound near Chaffee Road over the weekend. We know the identity of the man shot and killed. He is 44-year-old George Guerrero. As the search continues for the man who shot Guerrero, his sister reached out to News4Jax. Channel 4's Bakari Savage is live along I-10 near the shooting and spoke with his sister. Bakari.
Yeah, Bruce, she says that she found out on Mother's Day, and if that wasn't hard enough to take, she says that their family is still grieving the loss of their father. Now they have to deal with this, the loss of 44-year-old George Guerrero. She says that he leaves behind one kid, his sister. Her name's Melissa. She tells News4Jax that Guerrero loved driving trucks and that she cannot believe that he would lose his life like this, and what police are calling road rage. So this happened Saturday afternoon around 2 o'clock. Police say that Guerrero and another truck driver were heading eastbound on I-10. Somewhere near Chaffee Road, they bumped into each other. What happened next is still under investigation, but the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says that the trucker in a dull orange cab shot and killed Guerrero, whose body was found in the cab of the truck that he was driving in a wooded area off the highway. That shooter just kept driving. Let's put up a description of the truck that he was driving. The search is on for what's being called a mid-2000th century or Columbia Freightliner cab. It's dull orange in color. He was pulling a 53-foot white trailer. Now, the description of him is very vague at this time. We just know that he does have a beard. So FHP, in order to find this guy, they put out a bolo that's to be on the lookout all up and down I-95 and across I-10. If you see this trucker, you should call police. Live along I-10, I'm Bakari Savage, Channel 4, the local station.
Jacksonville Sheriff's Office released the name of the child who drowned yesterday in a pond in Lackawanna. 6-year-old Demarion Lee slipped into a retention pond. The boy was fully clothed, didn't know how to swim. Fire rescue crews pulled him from the water. He'd been underwater 6 to 8 minutes. It was about waist deep and very muddy. Neighbors and business owners are gearing up for a fight this afternoon ahead of round 2 of public comment over a proposed new restaurant. Developers want to remodel the old deluxe laundrette into a restaurant called The Roost. It would seat as many as 150 people. City Council cut off public comments at a meeting Wednesday because of time. It was well after midnight. People who live in the Riverside area say it's going to cause problems with parking and noise. The developers say they want to work with the city to address those concerns. They also say they're focusing on breakfast and lunch. The Roost, by the way, would add about 40 new jobs to the area. Public comment starts at 4 o'clock at City Hall. 3 deadly crashes involving motorcycles over the weekend. All 3 of those accidents happened on the west side. Late last night, a biker was killed while riding on Memorial Park Road near Gill Court. Jason Franklin lost control of the bike and swerved, hitting a concrete culvert. Saturday, a motorcyclist died after a crash on Ortega Boulevard near Verona. 39-year-old Derek Green was driving northbound on Ortega. The driver going in the other direction didn't yield while turning and hit Green. He was not wearing a helmet. 26-year-old Colby Harrison was also not wearing a helmet. He was killed while driving on Blanding Boulevard near the Clay County line Saturday. Harrison's bike collided with a car turning left onto Lake Gray Boulevard. The car did have the green arrow. More people die in motorcycle crashes in Florida than in any other state. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, only 7% of licensed drivers in Florida ride motorcycles, but 19% of deadly accidents involve motorcyclists. St. Johns County deputies recovering after being involved in a crash. According to witnesses, the cruiser landed upside down. The doors had to be cut to get him out. It happened near the intersection of A1A and Tournament Players Club Boulevard. Broken glass and tire marks still in the spot where the accident occurred. We talked to a witness who heard the tires screeching and saw the car flip. Jason Remmel says he immediately ran downstairs to help the deputy. Another officer arrived at the scene, but no one could get the doors open. The others sat and talked with the officer who was trapped. Remmel says he's surprised and thankful that he is okay.
I work in the operating room as a surgical sales rep, so I've seen traumatic injuries every day of my life, but I was definitely anticipating the worst on this one, but, you know, the man above, you know, he kind of sent someone down to look after him, so at least he gets to go home and hug his family.
Remmel says the other people involved seem to be okay. We've reached out to FHP to get the crash report, still waiting to hear back. This is one of 2 deputy-involved crashes over the weekend. A Clay County deputy was taken to the hospital after this wreck in Middleburg. You can see his cruiser was sideswiped. The deputy suffered minor injuries, is expected to recover. We are working to learn more about a deadly train wreck in Clay County. It happened on Wahlberg Street in Green Cove Springs Saturday night. The person appeared to be riding a bike when they were hit by an Amtrak train. Police have not released that victim's name. A Waycross woman is being charged with murder in connection with her husband's death. According to the Waycross Police Department, they got a call from a woman saying she was having difficulty breathing. When they got to the home, 58-year-old Sonia Burke showed them to a room that was locked. The officers forced their way in. That's where they found her husband, 68-year-old Jimmy Burke. They found him dead. It appears he died from a gunshot wound. Players Championship gets underway this week at TPC Sawgrass. Busy week with events and, of course, the big golf tournament. Here's what FDOT wants you to know about traffic to get there. Plan ahead because traffic is going to be a nightmare. Taking County Road 210 is a good option if A1A is congested, and it will be. And avoid going to the course during lunch hours. It's the busiest time. If you haven't already, make sure to download our Insider 4 Tournament app. You'll find everything from the leaderboard, tee times, and even what to do when you get to the players. The man accused of going on a shooting spree in a Maryland suburb is scheduled to appear in court today. What authorities say about events that led to the deadly shootings at a school and mall. And a federal deadline looming over the state of North Carolina concerning its controversial transgendered bathroom bill. What the governor says about the deadline. We continue to follow local breaking news from Windy Hill on the south side. There was a shooting inside a home at Countryside Mobile Home Park. A relative of the victim called police. The victim was able to get out of the house and treated for a gunshot wound. Went to the hospital. They've since been released. There was a time lapse before JSO could take up position, so they're not sure if the person is still in there. North Carolina's governor is going to court in a fight for a state law that limits protections for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. The U.S. Justice Department said last week violated the civil rights of transgender people. The Justice Department set a deadline of Monday for the governor to report whether he would refuse to enforce the law that took effect in March. This afternoon, the man charged with first-degree murder in the shooting rampage in Maryland will appear in court. Eulalio Tordil killed his estranged wife outside of a high school as she waited to pick up her children. He's also accused of shooting a man who tried to help her. The deadly shooting spree continued when police say he opened fire at a grocery store, killing one woman, then again at a mall, killing a man in the parking lot. 3 others were hurt. 62-year-old federal law enforcement officer has been placed on administrative duties, and stripped of his government-issued weapon.
Always watching, always tracking. Channel 4 is the weather authority.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Well, it's actually beautiful out there. We're making that transition out of the upper 70s and into the lower 80s. We're looking rain at the players. We'll send a push alert on our regular weather app and on our special players app. So that's a great tool to have out there to keep up with the weather as well. Bruce?
Thank you, Rebecca. We will be right back. 12:22, and we continue to follow breaking news from the south side. JSO on the scene of a SWAT situation at the Countryside Mobile Home Park off Beach Boulevard. We just noticed that both a fire truck and a JSO cruiser pulled up. Here's what happened is a relative of a victim called police. The victim managed to get out of the house, was treated for a gunshot wound, and released from the hospital. Right now, police are working to determine whether or not the shooter is still in the home. Residents of the mobile home park have been evacuated as a precaution. Follow this story on news4jax.com when we are off the air. Well, when was the last time you pulled out the furniture or broke out the scouring pads to clean your home? If you can't remember, it may be time for a deep clean and you may need some help. Nikki takes a look at what to expect when the cleaning crew goes deep in today's Angie's List report.
Nikki Kimbleton, Channel 4, the local station.
News at noon. We'll be right back. We continue to follow a local breaking news alert on the south side. There was a shooting inside a mobile home at the Countryside Mobile Home Park. A relative of the victim called police. The victim got out, was treated for a gunshot wound, and released from the hospital. There was a time lapse before JSO could take up position, so they're not sure if the victim, or the shooter rather, is still in there. Weather-wise, settling into hot. 81 right now, and that's not the end of it, huh?
No, we're headed to 89 this afternoon, so sweltering temperatures ahead. You get the tiniest break in temperatures on Tuesday afternoon. We're topping out at 86 degrees instead of those upper 80s like we're seeing the rest of the work week. This is business as usual for us in terms of temperatures for average for us for this time of the year. But with such a quiet weather pattern ahead, we'll probably see some foggy mornings, especially to the west of I-95 for the next couple of days. We're watching that chance for showers on Friday. Of course, with the players in town, we'll let you know about the timing of those as those storm sweep in.
Sounds good. Keep posted on news4jax.com when we're not on the air. Have a good afternoon and stay cool.
At News 4 Jax, we're always covering the news, even when we're not on TV. Stay informed, on the go, and online at news4jax.com.